So I'm going to talk a little bit about Job. That's the book that anytime human suffering is talked about, people, Bible believers like to talk about the book of Job. And I guess it's maybe because they want to commiserate with Job and be like, I'm being persecuted for being godly. And yet, in the book pretty much goes up this way because at one time I did read it. I probably might do a summation of it at some point. Well, I'm doing it now. So pretty much, Job is a really righteous man in this country. I don't know where he lives. The screen is going to show it somewhere because I'll put that in. And then, the devil decides to make a bet with God. Hey, you know what? Maybe if you get rid of all this prosperity with, uh, maybe if you get rid of all of his prosperity, he is going to curse you to your face. And God is like, nah, he ain't, nah, that's my boy. Nah, he's not going to do that. And then he's like, well, let me take his kids. Late term abortion, folks. 10 kids all wiped out. Job, the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. And then I think like later on the flocks drown or something like that. Like it's something where like the wealth, the monetary wealth goes poof. And then he's like, praise be to God. And then the devil is like, yachts, crap, whoa. He's not folding, so why don't I afflict his body? And God is like, sure, go ahead, do it. So Job is sitting there scraping pus filled or purulent, which is the word for pus filled, scabs off his body. And then the devil comes back and says something else. No, his wife says, curse God and die. And he's like, you talking like a foolish woman. I ain't doing that. And then his friends come over with sackcloth and ashes, because I guess that's, what you do in the Near East. You get sackcloth and ashes when you're really, really sorry. And it's a way of commiserating or letting them know, hey, we are ride or die peoples. And there's one of them that says, is there any wisdom in Taman? And I really want to know where Taman is. I'm probably going to have a photo of it somewhere. But the big thing I want to talk about is like, is there any wisdom in Taman? And I want to say it might have been Edom, which is named after Esau and his line, according to myth. So what I really want to say at this point is though, like his three friends are like, hey, you sinned. And Job is like, nah, I didn't sin. I can't, I'm combing through my mind. I can't think of anything. And then his friends are like, no, you must have sinned. There's something in there. Maybe you sinned in your heart. Maybe you sinned imaginarily. I don't know. Maybe you did something, because this is not what happens to people when they don't sin. And then there's a young man at the very end who's like, you know what? I let age go before beauty. So I'm going to say this, Job, something has to give here. And what it really boils right down to is Job is like, okay, you know what? God, where you at? God, please help me out. Give me an answer here. Come to me. Say something to me. And then God is pretty much like, am I going to have to choke a creation? Am I going to have to choke you, Job? I tamed the Leviathan. I tamed everything. I made these mountains that you stare up at all day. I did all this junk, and you gonna sit here and try to question me about my business? This is almost like when she asked him about his business, and then he was like Al Pacino was like, no, and then he looked at and then God looks at him and kind of lies to him, but not really. He dodges the question like a lot of apologists do. They don't really answer the full question. Like, that's the first thing I'm going to say is you didn't answer my question if I ever have to deal with an apologist. And the main thing is he doesn't say a damn thing about what happened. He could have said something. He could have said, listen, this was me testing you. But he would have been an asshole to say that. And the writer wouldn't look good on God. But the crazy thing is, like an Am I the Asshole post that tries to post an asshole in the best way. Even the details that are there make you look like an asshole. So that's the problem. Like, nothing in Job really makes me feel comforted like it used to, because I just, I was operating in the cosmic thinking of, you know what, sometimes bad just happens to people for a reason and we don't know, and everything happens for a reason. But this has been so, like, I don't understand how a rational person, well, then again, this is an emotional book, by the way. So emotions are the heart of what theists have here that keep them bound to their God. So pretty much, I just want to say that, like, when I look at the book of Job, so let's look at it again. Let's kind of sum this up, because it's nearing on 6 minutes. When I look at Job and I hear Job is prosperous, Job loses it all. Job refuses to like curse God and blaspheme. Job, wait a minute. I kind of wonder what happened to the wife, because she's only mentioned once. And I mean, did the most beautiful daughter? Oh, we'll talk about that later. The friends come over and say, "Hey, you sinned in your heart or something." Then Job says, "I didn't," and it rinse, lather, and repeat until God says, "Hey, who are you to question me?" It almost sounds like a parent being like, "Why are you questioning my decisions? I'm stronger than you. I'm bigger than you. I've lived here longer than you." Kind of like a church mother who thinks that who thinks that life only happened to her. Meanwhile, Job is sitting there, his 10 kids gone, his wealth gone, his health gone, and suddenly God is sitting up there afflicted, letting him be afflicted and saying, "How dare you question me? Who are you? Who are you, God? You're sitting over here," in which there isn't any indication that the question was even answered in the first place. Because all he did was overwhelm Job. And then Job makes the sacrifice for his friends because the anger of the Lord burned against him. But they were spouting the exact prosperity gospel that Benny Hinn and all them people are preaching today, that Jim Bob Duggar subscribes to, and his other Arkansas folk that Bill Gothard spouts. They were spitting that prosperity gospel and sucking all the juice out of it like a vampire to blood, or a mosquito searching for a nice, delicious little elixir to lay her eggs. And yet we're supposed to take comfort in all of this. You're funny. I can't look at the book of Job the same way again, because it is not a comforting book. The book of Job is horrible. And honestly, it doesn't comfort me at all. All right. Talk to you soon.